Hello, we're back after a spring break week. Yay, we missed last week, but we're glad to be back, and thank you for joining us today. We are in our last week in March.
We're in our last days of March.
That's true. Our last week of March, our last days of March. So we'll be going into April soon, which is our favorite month of the year.
It is the best month of the year.
So we both celebrate our birthdays. So we'll be having celebrations all next month as we end the March month, which is my son's birthday this week. So we'll be celebrating his 11th birthday on Wednesday. So yay, Mason. Well, we'll get started. Again, I'm Kristen Rabell.
I'm Rebecca Johnson.
And again, thank you for joining us. The Rabell Realty Group podcast, and we'll talk about real estate, but also some other fun things. Before we start that, let's get into our Monday market moment.
All right, North Central Florida, let's take a look and see what the real estate market has been up to. So these numbers are pertaining to March for everybody except for St. Augustine.
Actually, I did look it up, and those are March numbers for St. Augustine. Yeah,
there we go.
I know. Check that out. But I'm going to get to that. When you go over there, I'm going to get to it.
All right, well, let's start with the Tampa Hillsborough area. So far this month, so far for the month of March, there are currently 339 active listings that have come on since March 1st that have not been sold yet. 998 pending. That makes me feel a little better because typically we see that number around there this time of year. 826 closed.
So I would say these are low numbers.
They're still low
for
but
the
they're
end
not,
of March.
Yeah, but
well, we were in the thousands last year in pended and closed. So I think these are kind of low numbers.
But there's nothing to sell.
Yeah.
So
well, I've been reading that there's less sales, and which probably because there's less on the market this year than last year, and then also this month than last month. So
if it's not there to sell, you can't sell it. So
exactly.
I think
they're
that's
low numbers because of that.
You're going to see the market drop because of that. But that's why you're seeing there's less homes sold, but prices have not adjusted for that yet.
Not yet, right.
So they're selling less because there is less to sell. Yeah, I think I heard somebody mention today that 23 came on over the weekend in the Gainesville area, but 50 pended.
Crazy.
So it's, we basically have very limited supply. I mean, you could tell if you look at that active, if nothing else came on the market, you would be out of inventory in about a week.
Yep, exactly.
So it's...
and luckily, that's just active for this month. There are other actives still that are sitting there, probably overpriced, truthfully, even for this market, or just really tough property to sell. A lot of it's land. If you think about that, this is not, we're just looking at residential, but there's also land out there, that are, that's active and not everyone needs a home. Not everyone can buy a condo. Not everyone needs land or mobile homes. So it's a mix of all of those.
I do think it gets scary when land starts to sell.
I know. It's been selling.
I know.
So then there's no land left.
In a more healthy market, land is like one of those listings that you're like, I'll only take it if I can put a huge sign out, because then it's like a billboard that you get to market yourself with. This one, I'm like, I'll get land, but I'm just throwing a regular sign out because I don't want to spend the money because it's just going to sell really
quickly.
And it's expensive to have it installed. So very interesting. All right. So Ocala and Marion, let's take a look at you all. You've got 267 that have come on since the beginning of March, 615 pended for the month of March, and 491 closed. That's definitely low for their area. Right. Builders can't build fast enough.
I mean, it's low for everybody, all of around. So,
and sellers can't sell if they can't buy something else. Right. So, which I don't know if the interest rates are a topic on here, but I think you're going to see that with the interest rates as they're getting
They're not, but as they continue to change, we'll continue to talk about them. Probably have someone on here who can really talk about, the interest rates changing and how it's going to affect us as buyers. So,
Well, it takes away your buying power, and I know they're now in the 5s if you have good credit and 20% to put down. I talked to a lender on Friday about it, and they were like, we're seeing it, but people are still trying to get in and lock in their rates.
I mean, I definitely would, because if you're at 5s now, you're going to be 6 and 7s in the next 2 years. So buy now.
If not, sooner.
If you can. Right.
So that's right. So Gainesville, Alachua, you've got 78 active so far for the month of March.
Really tiny.
Yep. 282 pending and 233 closed. St. Augustine, we've got 32 active, 37 pended, and 30 closed.
So as we know, those numbers are usually lower, but they've actually been higher. And what we're noticing, so I own a condo there, right? And so I follow that area, I follow that MLS, and one came on, but it came on pended. And what they have at NEFAR, which is their MLS, is, well, I guess that's their association. The MLS is called Flex MLS. But they have what they're allowed to put on coming soons. So that's what they do. They put it on coming soon. It actually sells before, because even though that's created to not sell before, it's selling before right now because people are getting so pent up because there's not much on the market that they're just going ahead and making huge offers while it's in the the pre-sale space, and they're selling them. And so that's probably why we're seeing a little more pended and closed. But yeah, they're coming on pended, they're coming on closed. They're going through other sources or not even getting on the market because it's so hot over there. Of course, still, especially in this time of year when people are getting ready to have their vacation homes. So, yeah.
So, just another day in paradise. This will probably become the KNR Property Management show at some point when everything is just a rental.
Hi, Tabitha. Hey, Tabby.
and Tabby. We have nothing else to sell. We'll just be a property management podcast. So
we'll still talk about the market. We'll still talk about, homes. It might not be your home. It might be your rental that you're renting. But yes, the market is tough right now. But that doesn't mean, you have to pack up everything and leave. It just means you got to work a lot harder as a realtor and, connect more with buyers and sellers, with people out there. And if you're a buyer or seller, it's really getting a great realtor who knows what they're doing, who can, research well, has a lot of connections, knows about the market, and knows how to think outside the box when things come up so that you can eventually get a home or sell your home. Or if you have to do both, there's plenty of realtors at Rabell who know what they're doing. So call us, use us.
That's right. All right.
Before we get into the next topic, which has an image with it, let's talk about the Oscars. We were asked if we're going to talk about the Oscars. For two people who don't watch the Oscars often, I know you don't watch them, but you've heard about the slap heard across the world, right?
I looked on Twitter to see this video of him.
Yes, and if you see the Japan version, they don't actually block out anything, so you can hear Will Smith kind of lose him, right? So I don't know. I woke up this morning. I had actually watched quite a bit of it. Got to see, the two songs from Encanto, which is one of the only movies I've seen on the list of Oscars, which is a great movie. I've seen it a million times, especially if you have a kid. You're going to see it a lot. Yes, love Sebastian Yatra, which is the Dos Oruguitas song, which is my favorite song, other than We Don't Talk About Bruno. So those were great. I know a lot of little kids were a little upset with the We Don't Talk About Bruno live because it wasn't. Yes, it was the actual singers, but then the hip hop artist came on, Megan something. I'm not even keeping up with that enough, and rapped through it, and it kind of changes the song. So I guess if you wanted to update it to today's hip hop radio, that's what they did. I don't know. I'm a purist, so I would have loved to hear the song from the actual singers. But both were still fun, and the Dos Oruguitas was beautiful. They had a dance with it. So those were great. But it's really Will Smith getting offended, apparently, by Chris Rock, who told a joke, because he's a comedian, right? He's up there telling jokes, and he says something about, calling Jada Pinkett Smith G.I. Joe 2 because she has a shaved head. Now, what I didn't know, which is maybe Chris didn't know, is that she has alopecia, which is you're losing your hair. I don't follow her on Twitter, so I had no clue. I thought she was just doing what a lot of people do and shave their head and look cool, right? And he was calling her out, making fun of her. So maybe he knew, maybe he didn't, but a lot of people have talked about how rude it was for him to joke about her, her issue and calling her G.I. Jane too. Again, I didn't know. I don't follow Jada. She's kind of annoying to me, so I laughed. Will Smith laughed, and then immediately saw Jada, I guess, roll her eyes, and then ran up, slapped Chris Rock in the face, and then screamed out about, don't
put my wife's name in your mouth. Yeah.
And so I wake up and it's all over Facebook and Twitter, talking about, Will and Chris. And so I don't know if you're watching, what do you think? Are you a pro Will? Did he was what he did right, or are you pro Chris, and who basically just stood there, made a couple other jokes and didn't go after Will? So I don't know. Do you want to, did enough reading it? Do you have any idea?
All I will say is it embodies every reason that I think celebrities are like the worst people on the planet.
There you go. I think what Will did was completely idiotic. I'll just put it out there. When I saw it, I was shocked. I think, Chris, again, if he made the joke, he made a joke. He's a comedian. You're going to hear nasty jokes about people. Did he know that she, didn't have her hair for any reason other than, her being cool or alopecia, whatever it was. But I just thought what he did was ridiculous. You're in front of your peers at a really big night. Oscars, I think, are the biggest awards. The Academies are the biggest. So why are you going to lose your crap on stage in front of all your peers? And then he wins the Oscar and then he apologizes and he tries to say that he was a lot like Mr. Williams because he played, Venus and Serena's dad, which was the movie I saw. He did a really great job. I do think Will Smith is a great actor, but I think what he did was just stupid. And anybody who's following or thinking that he did what was right, I think they're losing their mind, because why would you lose it in front? Yeah, it's a joke. Will look like a moron. Is it a joke? I mean, Will just look like a moron. So that's unfortunate for him. But like you said, celebrities are just...
I'm not picking
Why do we even look up to them?
I think they're all kind of like bottom of the barrel people. I'm sorry. You can all come for me in the comments. That's fine. But I haven't even seen or heard of most of the movies. I have heard of Encanto.
I think I've felt that for the past 15, 20 years, with the Oscars. Half the time it's some like movie that nobody really saw. Are we really interested? Every once in a while, there's like the smaller award is for a really good movie that you've seen. But for the most part, it's like random movies you've never seen. When you go to see them, they're terrible.
Yeah, I don't enjoy going to the movies, so I don't really know.
I like going to the movies. We haven't gone in 2 years because of COVID, but now you can just watch the movie from your home.
Yeah,
you pay
why
for
wouldn't
it there.
I want to do that? I can pause it. I can do what I want.
That's how I've seen any of them, honestly.
I did watch Sing 2 recently, and that was an interesting little cute show, and Encanto, and I saw Cruella. So
Cruella, was on there. Great movie.
Yep. So those are the movies that I've seen in the last year.
Well, I don't know. If you're continuing watching, you can put your point of view up there if you're willing to. Everybody else did it on Twitter and Facebook. If you haven't gone and seen all the funny Twitter posts about it, just go so you can have a good laugh, because it's hilarious, some of the posts and memes that people have put up. So, and it's this ridiculous joke that is probably unmemorable has now become set in stone for Oscar memory always. So
Bad Bunny, is that Will Smith, or I don't know who that is.
There's going to be a lot of Will Smith jokes, by the way. So yes. Bad Bunny, I don't know, but
I think they probably staged this so that somebody would talk about the Oscars, because they knew that nobody gave a crap about the Oscars anymore, is my opinion. But pro tennis players. I don't know anything about movies.
Monfils was fun, and Fognini got their autographs.
Oh,
okay.
Fun.
Well, thanks, Tabitha. Thanks for coming on here. All right, let's talk real estate finally.
Yay.
Actually, are we supposed to take a break now? Let's talk real estate really quick. This is not really real estate, but it is. So we're still in like this kids stage, talking about Encanto, Sing 2. Did you know that Lego sales like completely soared during COVID?
Because everybody was at home and they wanted to step on razor blades.
But it wasn't just like regular Lego. It was the Lego that had to do with building houses and buildings. Yeah, so they soared incredible amounts. Of course, I had the number up here and I don't know where it is right now. But there's a little story going around how it really, they killed the sales during the lockdown. 27% rise in profit and increased global market share. So yeah, I'm sure now that the real estate market is crashing or turning, same with the Lego sale market.
Probably.
People are out and about. But
I'm kind of surprised Lego hasn't designed a product to build homes like in real life, to be honest with you.
I mean, they have some pretty massive competitions where they're building like almost homes, so I'm surprised too. But I do know they have like engineering awards and things like that. So they're definitely in it. They just haven't built something yet or figured something out. But My kid loves Legos.
I didn't grow up with Legos. My
time.
mom told me that they were boy toys, kind of like G.I. Joes. So I think they were probably just expensive and she didn't want to step on them.
Yeah, that's why my mom didn't buy them. They were expensive. We'll do one more little story. I thought this was kind of cool. A former Coast Guard station in North Carolina is now an offshore bed and breakfast. But you can't get there.
Oh, you have to get
by boat.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty like if you are very adventurous, this is the place to go, apparently. So you can find it on. It's called the Frying Pan Tower. It's in the middle of the ocean, and you've got to kind of be fearless to want to stay there. I think there's just some other pictures that accompany it to show how it's like set up as a bed and breakfast. So yeah. Let's see them. Are they coming up?
If I have to ride a boat to a special like hideaway, I think I'm going to like the Metcalves or whatever.
I mean, it's probably like where they stayed before when they were there. But yeah, I thought that was kind of fun to showcase. Would I ever do it? Probably not. My sister was in town this week, and she was telling me how she went to New Zealand, and there's this like glowworm cave. And you have to go into the cave, and then you have to go through these really small holes to get in to see the glowworms. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. I do not like to be enclosed in anything. And I was like literally shaking when she was telling me what she had to do. But apparently it's something that you really have to do. So if you're adventurous, go try out this bed and breakfast at the Frying Pan in the middle of the ocean off of North Carolina.
Fun.
So yeah. All right, we'll take a break and we'll come back and talk more real estate.
If you're looking to step back in time to old Florida living with park benches and oak tree moss swaying above your head, look no further than the town of Micanopy. 20 minutes south of Gainesville, the town of Micanopy boasts quaint antique stores and a rich history. The town was named for a Seminole Indian chief, Micanopy. Today, you can visit over 39 sites listed on the National Registry of Historic Places in Micanopy, one of which houses Native American artifacts from the time of Chief Micanopy. Fast forward a few years and visit the Greek Revival colonial home built in 1845, the Herlong Mansion Bed and Breakfast. It welcomes guests with southern comforts like a second-floor porch swing bed and 3-course breakfast served every morning. An easy day trip or an overnight weekend visit will leave you relishing the old Florida lifestyle. Visit buysellrebell.com to find your Micanopy home.
Welcome back.
I'm
Rebecca Johnson. This is Kristen Rabell.
Yes, thanks for joining us or staying with us, sticking with us. We've got some old friends on here that are listening. Tabby is the daughter of Paula Miller, who was a realtor of ours, and she's about to graduate high school coming up soon. So we're really proud of her, and thanks for joining us, Tabby.
Crazy how time fast goes. Yep. So we're talking about, this was in the paper and on the news, the HOA versus the Gainesville resident and tree safety. So this was on, I think, CBS is where we saw it. But basically, it was getting into, to me, it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. It's like, who's more valuable, the tree or the resident? And talking about the struggles of getting things done within an HOA, but more also within the city limits. If you're in the city limits, you have different rules and regulations than if you're on the outside. And trees are definitely one of them. I will say that we didn't get to talk about the story, but there was also an HOA story from out west where he was mad because the HOA foreclosed on his property.
Yes, we didn't talk about that. That was on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, HOAs, they are very controlling. And I know a lot of people like selling real estate. They're like, I don't want to be in an HOA. Now, there's good things about HOAs. We've been in neighborhoods where there's no HOA, and you can have a pink house with trees growing out of the middle of it and, crazy stuff going on. So if you don't want that kind of neighborhood, you probably want to be in an HOA. And then you have to follow the rules. We've talked about this before in other ways, how if you've signed up for something, you follow the rules. But this is a little different. So this has to do with the trees. And right. I know as a Hale resident, back in the day, and we've talked about this before, you had to have St. Augustine grass, and you have to have it up to the curb. You can't put mulch or anything up to the curb. You have to have that grass. But the problem with St. Augustine grass is that it needs the right amount of fertilizer, water, and sun. And we are a tree city, and Hale is pro tree, like 100%. It has to be absolutely dead, falling over,
I remember
in the
everybody
worst
had a heart attack
situation
when they trimmed the canopy in the village.
Right. For you to be able to be approved to pull that tree down. And I know they've become more relaxed as the trees got larger and larger, and those old 80s and 70s, 80s mostly, and 90s houses became rotting all the time because they were made out of wood, right? And there was no sunshine on these houses. So now with their newer association, which has been around, Leland and Vesta, 4 years?
Yeah.
They've become less strict about the trees. You still have to get approval, but they are approving you to remove more trees than not. Anyways, with the St. Augustine grass, someone was sent, they were enforcing you to grow this, but it also has like different bugs. It's great grass. It's beautiful, but it's really, really, really hard to maintain. And we're probably going to get that in our next conversation also. You have to water it a lot, again, fertilize it, and have enough sunshine. And when the trees are blocking the sun, it's going to die. You're going to get in trouble. So an attorney owner actually challenged the HOA against using St. Augustine grass because it wasn't fair to enforce grass that is not able to grow in the very shady areas. And he actually won. So now you can grow any other grass in there. You can mix it in so that it can grow more lush if you don't have, and use grasses that are better for shade. And so you're not completely forced to do that, but that was an attorney that really challenged it and won and had a lot of great, I don't know all of the details, so I can't tell you what he or she did to challenge it and to win.
Basically, there's a Florida statute that states that if you're using something that's indigenous to the area that is drought tolerant, that you can use that over something that is not. And because I remember that, and they won because I remember everybody was really mad, and we were too, when we got our updated budget, and it had attorney's fees because the HOA was fighting them on a Florida statute.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's the state. You're probably not going to win as a little HOA that nobody cares about, other than the people who live there, of course. But yeah, even the people who live there were like, please stop spending our money on this.
Right. Let them win. Let's go. Let's move on. Right.
Which I think is smart because zoysia is definitely better. But it talks about the other person was basically dealing with the same thing with the tree. The tree was a danger to their property. But the
this
arborist...
is in Blues Creek, by the way, not Hale. So, right.
And the arborist said, well, the tree is fine. And then they wanted a second opinion because it's basically like they're choosing the tree over the house. And the person had an experience where a tree had fallen and it caused over $100,000 worth of damage to their property. So they wanted the right to protect their property because, sure, they probably were made whole by the insurance company, but it is a pain in the butt. Sorry, Carrie, we love you, but it is a pain in the butt to deal with the insurance company and to get your money and to get your stuff replaced. And it's just, scary. I mean, if a tree fell through your house, you're probably not going to be able to rest for a little while in a house. You're probably going to be a little on edge. So, and that's how neighborhoods were born, with no trees. After hurricanes, I remember there were 4 hurricanes that came through, and then like all the HOAs had no trees for a little while. But yeah, so this is interesting. One thing I love about Tioga that has to do with this slide is
this is a different topic, but we can easily go into this topic.
It's talking about sprinkler-free landscaping. It has to do with both topics.
Right.
Tioga actually will give you a credit if you use water-free landscaping. So you can actually, in that neighborhood, take out all of your grass and put down hardscape or pebbles or mulch or different things, and they'll give you a credit for your grass.
So actually, this is. So April is coming up, and it's a celebration of Water Conservation Month. And so I know so this is actually something coming from IFAS out of the University of Florida. And there's a new incentive and a new program, and it's like H2O SVC or something like SAVE. And it's about saving water and saving irrigation. So a lot of new construction developers are going to start these developments and not include irrigation. And one reason is because people waste so much money with irrigation. Have you ever driven through your neighborhood and it's pouring down rain and your neighbor's irrigation is on because it's on a timer and they don't have one of those little pieces that say it's raining, don't turn it on, because those break all the time with our sun and our rain. And so it's going on. Or there could be a pinprick underneath the ground for your piping, for your irrigation, and you don't know it, and you are wasting millions of gallons of water. So because there are going to be hundreds of thousands of more Floridians people moving to Florida in the next 10 years, we are going to have to learn ways now to conserve water for the future homeowners. And so we're going into this mindset of no more irrigation, sprinkler-free landscapes. And that is using plants and grass, right, sod, that does well in our weather with our rain. We have a lot of rain during spring and summer. It's funny because they were saying April, that little poem, April showers bring May flowers. April is actually in Florida not a great water month.
Yeah, it's one of our drier months.
It's our drought month. And so we don't have water through that time. So that's a good time to start fertilizing and have and sprinkler your yard. But after that, don't even touch it with water because there's pretty much a little rainstorm every day in the month or in the summer months, because of our hurricane season. So we have enough natural water out there, but you're going to want to start thinking about this in Tioga. That's going to happen more often in other neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I like to play a little game with my plants. It's called How Long Can I Go Without Water? Mm-hmm. And just before the end, I spray them with a little bit. No, I'm just joking. Yeah. Totally teasing. But no, I thought that was interesting that Tioga did that. And I learned about that when I had moved there. So so be prepared for that. And also, this is a good month to have someone come in if you can't do it yourself and check your irrigation. If you have a 30-year-old home with irrigation, make sure that you can go in there, have someone go in there and check all of your sprinkler heads, check areas that seem like water has built up to see if there's a leak. You can also find a better way, like the springtime, and then changing it up in the summer, and then the fall and the winter, which I know we don't really have all 4 seasons, but we do. But just to change your irrigation plan so that you're not wasting tons of water. And then again, there's that little piece that can be added to your house with your irrigation that shuts off your irrigation if it's raining, if you've left it on. So yeah, just some fun facts about Florida real estate and housing. Mm-hmm. All right.
Well,
very good.
Yeah, we have more topics, but we're out of time. So we'll just go ahead through our slides.
All right. If you have a property that you don't want to sell, but you don't want to live in, call us. We would be happy to manage it for you here on the K&R Property Management Podcast. Coming soon, if we don't get any listings, I'm just going to start talking about rentals. So we will be your leasing agents. I know, accountant, repairman. We like rental listings also. Inspector and more. You can reach us at 213-6410 or on the website knrpm.com. That's all.
All right. If you're looking to join a team that has listings and can help you get listings and help you with your buyers, why don't you join our team? It's actually Rabell Realty Group K&R team. Also, if you're looking to get into real estate, even though it's a trying time, but you can still sell, it's really about communication and knowing people and knowing how to change with the times. So we say still look for a real estate career. Or if you're tired of the current team you're in or the current company you're in, again, email us at join@buysellerbell.com or call 559-8820 and we'll talk to you about your real estate career.
If you're looking to connect with us and more fun with Kristen and Rebecca at Rabell Realty Group, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google My Business, Google Plus.
We'll be there.
Yep, like and subscribe.
Thank you for joining us. Also, did you know we have a blog? We do, and we do talk about all these topics on that blog. They'll come eventually. We also talk about local neighborhoods, local insights, Florida, national real estate information. Come read all about it at buysellerbell.com/blog.
And we'd like to thank the Fiesta Media for putting on this podcast and all of our others. You can contact them today for your own podcast at 352-327-5089.
And join us next Monday at 2 p.m. Or you can watch us afterwards at rebellpodcast.com. We are live on Facebook, but we're also on YouTube. Live on YouTube, but you could still watch us both places. So tune in every Monday at 2. Thank you. And we'll see you next week.